if there are any questions that anybody has either about what Pujya Swamiji has spoken or about anything. Yeah.
Then your logic would suggest that we must at all costs avoid God, since God started the pain by causing the disjoining through creation. And those who cause dukh, according to you, should be avoided. Now, just logically, I know that's not what you believe, but just reasoning.
Again, can you repeat it again?
Yeah. Okay, let's start again. Yoga means joining. Separation or disjoining would cause pain. God started creation, which means he caused the disjoining. So God began the pain in this earth, in the universe. And according to you, we must avoid those who cause pain or that which causes pain. So we must avoid God. Just the logic.
Somebody he says, yoga, yoga, yoga is joining.
Yoga is joining, but the disjoining was caused by creation, and disjoining is the pain. And we must avoid the one who caused the pain.
Yeah, this that's a simplistic approach. The human being is given the freedom, endowed with the faculty of choice, of option. Once this option is given, that's given by God, let us say, the option is given. Once you are given this option, you can keep the people inside or you can keep the people outside. And therefore, the same God has to say, hey, keep them outside, I gave you the freedom, I gave you the option, please don't push them inside and then suffer. I did not give this for keeping them inside your faculty, so that I wanted you to be free, use your option. And therefore, God is not to blame, I'm telling you. Neither you can keep them inside, because what is Ishvara? You are thinking that some God sitting there and giving you all this. What is Ishvara? The law of the order is Ishvara. That in this order you have the freedom, and where there is freedom, you can abuse it. That abusing also is in the package of freedom. That you don't abuse is wisdom. That wisdom is what Gita gives you. So.
Okay, thank you.
Maharaji, I think what he's asking is, we say that in the process of creation, in the process of coming into this body, we have become separate from God. So we always talk about sadhana, for example, as the path of reuniting with God. So I think what he's asking is, if you say that this union is good, and this disunion, this separation is bad, and if God has created the creation, and if in
that is what the problem is. God created this concept. God created 6,000 years ago from heaven, this world. This particular thinking has created the question. And therefore, all that is here is God. That alone will work. That alone is understandable. And therefore, the order that is here is that we have a physical order, there's a psychological order, and there is this great significant freedom enjoyed by a human being being endowed with an uninhibited consciousness, and therefore then there can be a possibility of abuse of freedom, abuse of free will. And that is provided by God. It's not that He created. The creation is God. The Creator is God. And that there is no separation between the creation and God. If the creation is separate from God, then God must have a place to sit on. And that place must be created by whom? We need to see the absence of alienation that exists, because you are never away from the total, from the whole. And therefore, you have to know that knowing also is yoga. Tam vidya dukkha samyoga viyoga samjitam, that includes that knowledge also, knowledge of Ishvara, knowledge of God. That part of it I did talk about, a little bit I referred. So, this is the topic of all that we discuss here. In India, we have this spiritual pursuit because this knowledge is available and it is being taught. It is being taught. It is like mathematics. It is being taught. You are the whole. It's an equation. One has to know. And in the process, a way of life is called yoga. The way you live your life, your attitudes. So that part of it I did discuss today. Dukkha samyoga viyoga. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Swamiji, good afternoon. Thank you so much for coming. From what I understood, you were emphasizing on taking self-care, drawing healthy boundaries, taking self-care, and enhancing awareness. Swamiji, you also mentioned that environment affects our life condition. And you also mentioned consistency is very difficult. Consistency from beginning to end in any human being. So my question is that in this Saha world, in this 9 to 6 world, where we get up at 7 and are employed in our daily activities till 7 in the evening, how do we maintain that consistency? How do we develop a strong, solid self with a yogi outlook? If you could share your best practices on that. Because I could not be living in a retreat all my life, drawing healthy boundaries and trying to be happy. It would be incomplete happiness, I guess.
Yeah. You see, you have to be creative. And you become creative when you really care for the value for consistency. There should be methods by which we compensate the lack of time with quality time. You spend with children quality time. You spend with spouse quality time. In the quality time, your caring comes out. Your love and care, they manifest overtly. This overt manifestation is important for the other to see your consistency. And therefore, that you care for them is important. And that you express that care overtly is as important. And in the process, you don't get affected. That's also important by drawing boundaries, etc. This is what I said. It is quality time, perhaps, is the key, is the answer for lack of time.
If there's one more question, we may have time for one more quick question. Yeah.
Can you use the mic?
हाय स्वामी जी, मैं जानना चाहूँगा कि क्रिएशन का ग्रैंड डिज़ाइन क्या है? What's the grand design for the creation?
Yeah.
What is the grand design for the creation?
No, the creation doesn't have a grand design. The creation is a grand design. There is no design for the creation. I mean, there is nothing other than the creation itself as the goal for creation. Because this is how Ishvara is. The word creation is just used because things are intelligently put together. My own physical body is intelligently put together. My mother doesn't have any clue about it. And my father doesn't have any clue. And the grandparents also do not know. If I keep going, I will end up with chimpanzees. And they also don't know. And therefore, but this creation is intelligently put together, and therefore we call it a creation. But it's not separate from the Creator. The Creator's knowledge is very much there. So the neurology is gained only by looking into my brain, the creation. In the creation is the knowledge of the Creator. And in the creation, you see the cardiology is looking at the heart. You look at the creation and you get knowledge. And that knowledge is of Ishvara. Therefore, my mother is an associate of Ishvara. Because that's how the scheme is. And therefore, I would say, the creation's plan is very grand. Why? Because you are there in that creation. Own it that way. Because you are there, it is a very important creation. And everyone should think that way. I must be very important, that's why I am here. You know, you are not an uninvited fellow. You are not an uninvited person. You seem to be very important. That's why you are here. Why don't you think that way? That is the grand design. That I am there in the scheme of things is really a good design. And because I am there, it's a bad design. You can think so. You can think so. For that you don't need yoga, okay? Yeah. That I am there and you are also there. It is a good design. If I am alone, it's a boring thing. And you are also there, therefore it's a good design. Let's enjoy the design.